morning. Hey guys, we're ready for lesson 2 in math. And I hope you guys enjoyed lesson 1. Let's see, what did we learn yesterday? I have to remember, yes, we talked about story problems and when they have numbers that you don't need. And we're actually going to go over one today too. So something that is different in your last math book, the one that you're in right now, is that you have some lessons, like today's lessons, where you're not learning something new, but they say find out beside them. So if you go to lesson 2, turn to lesson 2 in math on page 7, okay? And you'll see on the sides it says find out. This means that you are using things that you've already learned this year, okay? Things you've already learned, you're using the knowledge that you already learned to solve these problems. So today's, I'm going to go ahead and go over it with you. So please follow along and see if you can figure it out before I tell you what the answer is, okay? I would like you to figure it out. So on page 7, you have a calendar, something like this. And here is what it says. So read along with me. From eggs to turkeys. Turkey eggs take about 28 days to hatch. Okay, so 1 to 28, that's pretty long. It's actually about a whole month that it takes for a turkey egg to hatch. So, all right, so the next sentence, count the days on the calendar. Count the days on the calendar, it says. So we could count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. But you know what? We know it's going to keep going. And if we look down here at the bottom, it says 31. So instead of needing to count all those days, we can look here at the bottom, and that tells us how many days are in this month. And this calendar says May. So there are 31 days in this month. The next sentence says, how many weeks is this? Okay, so for 28 days, where is 28 on the calendar? Y'all see 28? Okay, 28 is way down here. Now, how many weeks is this? From here all the way down to here, how many weeks is 28 days? First of all, remember how many days are in 1 week. Do you remember? There are 7 days in 1 week. Okay, so every 7 days makes another week. So one way to do this, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's 1 week. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days. That's another week. Okay, let's count 7 more days. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's another 7 days. So that's another week. And we'll see if we can get 7 more days before we get to 28. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Sure enough, we have another week. So 28 days is the same as how many weeks? Okay, how many weeks are 28 days? Here's 1, 2, 3, 4. 28 days equals 4 weeks. Okay? So that is how many weeks. It takes about 4 weeks for turkey eggs to hatch. Going on to page 8, I'm going to go over that story problem with you on page 8. So go ahead and turn to that. And there's a story problem at the top of the page. Okay. So the story problem. Let's read over that story problem. My pet hen, Mrs. Cluck. Oh, and remember, we're at Shady Maple Farm, right? When we read that story yesterday. So our book, we're talking about Shady Maple Farm. So the animals and the things they do, we're pretending we're at Shady Maple Farm. My pet hen, Mrs. Cluck, has 12 baby chicks. Make sure you're following along while I'm reading, said James. And Anna's hen has 9 chicks. Mitten's kitten has 5 kittens, added Lucy. How many baby chicks are there altogether? So which number, okay, first let's think about the clue words. What are the clue words in this story problem? Look at the last sentence. Your clue words are often in the last sentence. How many baby chicks are there altogether? Should you add or subtract? You should add. How many are there all together? Remember, if I say, oh, I have 6 boys and 2 girls in my class, how many students do I have all together? So I'm going to add 6 and 2 together. All together I have 8. So all together means add. So we know we need to add. You can go ahead and write that in your solution box. But which numbers do we need to add? I see a 12, and I see a 9, and I see a 5. Should we add all of those numbers together? Is that what we need to do? Well, what is the question? If we read carefully, then we'll know which numbers we need to add together. The question at the end says, how many baby chicks are there all together? So which numbers should we use? There are 12. Mrs. Cluck has 12 baby chicks. Oh, that's talking about chicks. Let's go ahead and write the 12, said James. And Anna's hen has 9 chicks. That's talking about chicks too. Write a 9 in the ones place. Now let's see if we need the 5. Mitten's kitten has 5 kittens. Are we talking about chicks there? No, we're talking about kittens. So we don't need the 5. So we're just adding the 12 and the 9. So 2 plus 9 is 11. 1 plus 1 is 2. So there are 21 chicks all together. Okay, so you guys can do that. Just read your story problems carefully to figure out what you should be adding or subtracting. Don't just look at the numbers and decide to write all the numbers down, because you might not need all the numbers. And one more thing, does anyone remember what the parameter is? If I'm going to find a parameter, what does that mean? So parameter is the distance all the way around an object, all the way around a polygon. So if I have a triangle, if I want to find the parameter of not my triangle, my rectangle. Let's say there's a 3 over here, and a 4, and a 3, and a 4. If I want to find the parameter of my rectangle, I need to add all the sides together, and then that will help me find the distance all the way around my rectangle. All right, you guys have an excellent day. Enjoy what you do. Enjoy playing with your brothers and sisters, or being with your family, or whatever you're doing.